All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center. We have special guests with us here this morning. Is it Stanfield?
Stanfield.
It's Janice Stanfield. Everybody know Janice? Say hello. Nice of you. And we're going to play two of her special songs this morning just to kind of get you to sing along and get you warmed up with us here today. This first song is called Open to Receive.
I am opening myself to receive. I am opening myself to believe that everything I want, everything I need, all of this and more, I'm waiting there for me. To see, for me to believe and be open to receive. Would you guys sing it with us? Take this in for yourself. What would you like to believe and be open to receive? I am opening myself to believe, receive. I am opening myself to believe that everything I want and everything I need, all of this and more, are waiting there for me to believe and be open to receive. Let's do it one more time. Really take it in. I am opening myself to receive. I am opening myself to believe that everything I want and everything I need, all of this and more, are waiting patiently for me to believe and be open to receive. So I'm a songwriter. I lived for a long time in Nashville, Lindau, and Denver. Been to the Positive Music Festival with these guys. Now, I am pitching this to you guys because I would love for you to have this as one of your offertory songs. It's a nice affirmation of prosperity. But let's just go in easy with a little easy to sing part that goes like this. Hey, na, 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 na. Try to memorize that. Like this. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Try that. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Two more. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Last time. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. All right, here's our affirmation. Goes like this. Sing along when you get the hang of it. Maybe just whisper along. Let your voice get the hang of it. I am more than enough of all that I need to do all I can do, be all I can be as I go through this day. This is my creed. I am more than enough of all that I need. I am more than enough of all that I need. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Sing it with us. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Let's go back to that affirmation again. Say it or sing it for yourself. I am more than enough of all that I need to do all I can do, be all I can be as I go through this day. This is my creed. I have more than enough of all that I need. I have more than enough of all that I need. Hey, na, 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 I have more than enough. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Let's just go quiet this time. And just say it or sing it softly for yourself. I have more than enough of all that I need to do all I can do, be all I can be as I go through this day. This is my creed. I have more than enough of all that I need. I have more than enough of all that I need. Last time. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Two more. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Last time. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Thank you.
Everybody, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, and welcome to all of those you who are online joining us today. My name's Charlie Carr, and I'm going to be the platform assistant today. And this morning, before silencing your phone, check in and tell the world that you are here, and let them know that they can tune in to Unity Spiritual Center online. We're going to begin our time together with our affirmation statement. I will say it once, and I'll ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation. One presence, one power, one life, living through and as each one of us. This morning we are going to hear from Dr. Reverend Jane, who is going to be sharing her message entitled Welcome to the Nuclear. Now my eyes in nuclear age. And Dr. Gary will be doing the meditation today. And as you know, our music today is, of course, always the Wonderful Rights and our special guest, Jana Stanfield. We are glad that you are here with us today.
Good job,
we'll go.
That was awesome. Yeah, Trey. I like the clear age. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stand up this morning and sing a little song from Jan and Dean and Jenny Martin and Jay Garrett. I like to call them Jan and Dean. And I hope you remember this song. You know, it starts the same way her song did. It's, we taught you the na-na-nas, so you're going to just have to sing them again. Alright, do you all remember these na-nas? Here we go. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na-na-na. We do our best to be alone. Leave a legacy behind. Nobody cares about how we struggle to be a legend out online. But everybody wants to be a hero. Try to stake our claim to fame. What the tear gets up to it's what we game that wins the game, sing with me now. And so we find ourselves, get up and burn, and we burn to trust our heart and soul. nobody ever needs to know. The ones we help may never find us. We keep in touch by letting go. And so we find our center and we give it better and we learn to trust our heart and soul. And now I finally get right on me your friend, 'cause in my heart is worth its weight in gold. And I'm gonna get all the way before I go. When I can't change the world, I try to hold on. The gift that's free lives on and on. So we find our center and we get a little better and we learn to trust our heart and soul. And now I finally get it. Well, I don't need that friend, 'cause in my heart it's worth its weight in gold. Well, I'm gonna get all the way before I sing to you. Na, 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 na. Come on, guys, that's the hard part. Let's go. Na, 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 na. Let's do it again. Come on, let's do it. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Let's go to the play. Ready? Let's go. Na, 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 na. Na, na,
Hello, I'm Rebecca Carr, and I'm the administrator here at Unity Spiritual Center, and I have a few announcements for you. The first one is we have an AVP basic workshop on August 3rd through the 5th. This is $30 for this 18-hour workshop focused on building community, communication, and conflict resolution. Please see Reverend Jane for any details. We have a monthly landscape cleanup this upcoming Saturday, July 28th from 8 to 11, and you can come for just a little bit of the time or stay the whole time. I know they will greatly appreciate your help. And we want to thank today's treats, which are provided by the people who have been in Unity for 20 or more years. How many? You stand up, please. Wow. Oh, anywhere, and it doesn't have to be here. Sorry, Unity anywhere. Okay. Wait. So next week, next Sunday, is the Linger Longer Potluck. And this, the theme is bring a picnic basket of your choice, or item of your choice. You could bring the basket too. And then lastly, we have registration for Kids Week, and that is August 6th through the 10th, kids ages 4 through 14, and it's $30. Forms are near the kids area. And also, we're looking for adult volunteers for that week, so if you're interested, please see Jane Giesel or Mary Ladwin. Thank you.
So this is next to the center update with Dr. Gary, an opportunity for me to share a bit about what happens behind the scenes, things that aren't necessarily apparent via our community announcements. And this morning I'd like to ask John and Terry Sanders to come up, and we want to visit a little bit about an important volunteer service opportunity that Unity Spiritual Center participates in. And so Meals on Wheels has been, how long has this ministry, John, been a part of Meals on Wheels, serving that important function in our community?
Well, I've been involved for 6 years. It was going prior to that, so it must be 8 or 10.
No, 20.
No, okay. So, like I was saying, Terry, how long has Meals on Wheels been operating in Spokane?
Well, I don't know how long it's been operating in Spokane, but when I started working here back in whatever year that was, 98, we had already been doing it for years.
Okay, and so this ministry has been participating in that service for many, many years, and so it's once every 5 weeks, right?
Correct.
And so what you do, you're a team, and so you go out and you pick up the meals and you go out and deliver them to the folks that are on your list.
Right.
And how long does that take you about?
1 to 2 hours.
1 to 2 hours, and it's once every 5 weeks. And you have a dedicated day, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so you can always count on that day.
Right. We have it on our calendar for the whole year.
Right. We currently have a need for 3 more days to be covered, and if we don't cover them, we will lose our place in having this as a part of our legacy. And so last week we talked about a crosswalk, and we had 4 or 5 people decide that they wanted to participate in that. And so we need 3 teams, 3 groups of 2 people to work together to cover the days that are listed. And so if you are drawn to this and want more information about it, please contact Tara Weir. Are you here, Tara? But her email address is up there. Thank you so much for helping me out with this announcement. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you. So many of you know that Spirit Groups is on sabbatical right now because Tara Weir, our program leader, has moved on into other places and other ways of being of service. And so we're in the process of moving towards our fall and wanting to have a fall launch of Spirit Groups. But you know, moving away from the tendency to kind of make one person in charge of such a huge effort and then have that key person kind of need to step down really causes us to have to kind of manage the kind of in-between. And so we're hopeful this time that we set up for ourselves a team that can really own that important integral project, so we move back into having our Spirit Groups happen year-round, because it's one of the most transformative ways in which we can actually implement the principles that we talk about on Sunday. Because, you know, while the message is good, you guys need to be talking about it amongst yourselves, working with the ideas, chewing on them, and really integrating them into your life. And you can't just do that listening. We have to be in conversation. And so if you're interested in participating in a planning team to really look at all the elements of what this important program is about, and then planning together how we're going to own that important function so that we have a coherent launch this fall, please see the welcome desk in the bookstore and sign up to be on that team. Okay, so I appreciate your help with that. Lastly, the summertime is always a challenge for churches, and as you can see, we're one service, and it looks pretty full, but our normal Sunday attendance is about 180, and right now we have about 120. So typically in the summertime, our attendance drops 30%, and so does the income, because traditionally people only give when they're present, and nowadays no one carries their checkbook or cash, and the love offering basket doesn't take credit cards very easily. So it's a huge challenge for us to make up the summer deficit, and we're running about $3,000 behind per month, and it's going to eat up all the reserve that we've had for all the fundraisers that we've done over the springtime to help us manage these summer months. And so if people would just set up some kind of automatic giving that ensures that we receive your support even when you're off water skiing or whatever you're doing, kayaking. You know, we want to do those things too, but we still are here, and we need to feel your love even when you're away. So if you're inclined to help us out this way, just go to the Tithely app and set something up. You're in control. You decide how much, how often, and you set up that yourself. And we have about a dozen people now doing that, and mostly millennials, and so they're into that sort of thing. But if you can set up some kind of automatic way to support us while you're not here, it'll really help us out. We're not asking you to give more. We're just asking you to make sure we receive what you'd give us if you were here. Thank you so much, and let's get ready for meditation.
Oh
my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Sing it now. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Sing joy. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. Let's sing power. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. Sing peace. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me.
So let's begin our meditation time by bringing our awareness to our heart space. And if you like, you can place your hand on your heart to create a sensation of this wonderful center. And as you breathe into your heart, just allow the breath to enter in, and when you release, feel yourself just settle into this moment. And bring into your awareness, into your mind's eye, someone or something that you appreciate. It could be a family member, a friend, a life partner, a beloved pet, precious child, a fond memory. Just whatever carries with it the felt sense of gratitude, love, appreciation, the sense of thanksgiving. And allow those feelings of appreciation to just fill your physical self, as if feeling the energy of appreciation and love well up as a fountainhead, extending from your center, filling this room, so that together we create an energetic field of heart-centered coherence. So we just allow ourselves to dwell upon the feeling of appreciation, and allowing that feeling to prevail within our awareness. And as we become aware of this feeling of appreciation and love, let us begin to extend it beyond this room, so that each one of us becomes the one unto someone else, sending our love beyond this room, touching all of the lives that are near and dear to us. And so let us pour ourselves into the intent to extend our love beyond ourselves, beyond any thought or care or purpose, but simply to be love, to send it forth, to allow it to do its perfect work, knowing that the gifts that are given make their way back into our lives. And we see this network of love extending well beyond these individuals that we've seen in our own awareness, allowing that love to go where only love can go, where love needs to go. And so let us just sit in the awareness of love's activity and movement within our hearts and beyond ourselves into our world in the silence together. Thank you, Spirit, for the wondrous works that are the effect of our sending our love. Sending our love. So it is. Amen.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. So I'll sing it. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me, and it returns to me.
How beautiful. Thank you. Don't you love that song? And don't you love doing that work of sending our love? Yes. I was hopeful that was a yes. Well, good morning. The spiritual teacher Mark Nepo wrote, "Our charge is to keep the literacy of the heart alive." Keep the literacy of the heart alive. And what he's talking about is precisely what we just did. We bless them wherever they're going and whatever they're ministering to. Is precisely what we just did. Coming together, opening our hearts to love and radiating it, sending it out. And make no mistake, opening our hearts like that, sharing the love that we are, makes a difference in the world. Whether we can feel it or not, rest assured that it is. And the more we do it, the more we help with the healing of our planet. It also makes a difference in our own internal state. If we had been all hooked up to brain monitors while we did that, the longer we did it, we would have seen that there would have been a significant shift in the engagement of the self-reflective part of the brain, called the posterior cingulate cortex, or PCC. And we would have experienced a diminishment in the activity of what's called the default mode network, which is the self system in which negative self-talk originates. What Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul called the insane roommate. You remember that? And when we get into our heart, and so you can see on the screen, this is a picture of what that looks like. This is the deactivation of that center that shows up in the brains of longtime meditators. And when we get into our heart, that critical voice settles down. And now, there's a spaciousness that gets created where transformation can happen. Do you see that? Isn't that exciting? Yes. Really? That's keeping the literacy of the heart alive. And we're going to have to learn how to do that as a culture, aren't we? Yes. If we want to have change and transformation. Now, we've spent the last few weeks, several weeks, exploring an evolution revolution through the lens and the colors of a system known as spiral dynamics. And if you have missed any of those talks, if you go on our website, you can listen to them all, where we delve deeper into each one of those eras. But we've seen throughout history that cultural paradigm shifts have occurred that mirror our own individual human development. And we've looked at the beige prehistoric survival era related to infancy in our own lives. We've looked at the purple tribal era that followed that, which correlates with our magical toddler years. We've seen the red warrior personal power era, compared that to the forming of our ego. Blue authoritarian rule of law correlates with our school age years of learning the rules, conforming to societal norms. The orange rational scientific worldview connects to our adolescent critical thinking emerging, where we're poking holes in all of those rules that we learned. And egalitarian green, as we start to look inward in our search for meaning in our lives. And these worldviews make up what are called first tier. Now, there's a natural tension between these different worldviews. Communication between them is very difficult. None of them are right or wrong, or bad or worse. They all have healthy and unhealthy aspects to them, and we transcend and include each one of these nested worldviews as we grow and develop, unless there is some kind of arrested development of some kind, right? And then we have unfinished business. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And if we have an addiction to something from a previous worldview, so for instance, anyone have an addiction to being an overachiever? If we have an addiction to something, it means we haven't transcended that dynamic as of yet. But if we have an aversion to something, you know, seeing success, for instance, you know, seeing others successful and the corporate world, what it's doing, you see, when we have an aversion or an allergy to something like that, we have not successfully included it or integrated it. So it's transcend and include. If we have an addiction, we haven't transcended. If we have an allergy, we haven't included. And that's the work for us. So if you have a sense of not belonging anywhere, you know, feeling like a misfit as you go through life, then that chances are pretty good that comes from the purple tribal years, you know, that part of our development. If you have a lack of personal power, sense of not being empowered, that comes from red. If you think you're afraid to step outside the box or break the rules, there's some blue there. If you equate achievement with self-value, that's orange. And if you're politically correct to a fault, that's green. And so we can just kind of take a look at that and see where in our own lives we have some unfinished business to take care of. As you heard, my talk title this morning is Welcome to the Nuclear Age. Yes. Now, I got to tell you that the Nuclear Age was actually the name of one of my brother's bands in the 70s. And it was like a new age band. It was they did meditation music, and I thought it was like the best band name ever. I just thought that was the best thing. And, you know, think about how the nuclear age, with all the baggage that comes with it, can morph into something better, new, clear. There's clarity about it. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. The emergence of a new paradigm of living
and clarity of thinking that can arise within what is known as the chaotic field. That's the space between chaos and order, right? Something new can come through that and emerge. Now, in the initial set of first-tier worldviews, this is important for us to get. Each of these historical shifts have been the result of a reactive, adaptive response to some of the inadequacies of the previous one. So, for instance, the banding together of purple tribes was born out of a need for safety and security that was lacking in survival-based beige. Red individualistic warrior power rose up in rebellion of tribal leadership. No more throwing me in the volcano, not having it, right? Then blue authoritarian structure is the reactive measure that emerges from red's lawlessness and mayhem, right? The Wild West mentality. And then orange innovation, democracy, is the result of throwing off those rules, too much authoritarian rules. It's questioning previously imposed rules. And then green comes along to search for meaning, to say, well, I've got all the toys, but is that all there is? It's a response to the too much head, not enough heart of unhealthy orange. And so it's always been an adaptive process that it's like a pendulum swinging, you see? But here's the cool part. We're poised on the threshold of another paradigm climb, but this time it's a conscious one. Do you see? It's not a reactive thing. It's conscious. It's a deliberate, focused changing of our thinking. It's knowing consciously that we're transforming our lives and where we're going, seeing it, poised in this chaotic field, and heading for a tipping point into second-tier consciousness. I'll say more about what that is. And we have the opportunity to be the avenue through which it emerges. What do you think about that? Is that the coolest thing you ever heard? Wow. So are you up for it? Yes. That's good, because we need all hands on deck. We do. It's time for all of us who profess a belief in oneness to start living the truth that we know. Isn't it true? To align ourselves with this evolutionary impulse that is seeking to express and to be that change. I love this stuff. Now, the hallmark of second-tier consciousness is an ability to communicate with anyone on the spiral regardless of where they are centered. Politically, all of that. So that's one. And we may not agree with what they're saying, but to be able to stay connected to someone and have that conversation, that is a sign of second-tier consciousness. Also, the second thing is that we stop sourcing our well-being outside of ourselves. We stop sourcing our discomfort outside of ourselves, looking for someone or something to blame for what's going on in our life. We stop doing that. We catch ourselves projecting, and we do the integration work right in the moment. And the capacity to live our lives from the inside out like this is an evolutionary milestone. And so throughout this spiral, developmentally, we have moved from an ego, and we need that on this paradigm climb, yes we do. We have moved from an egocentric worldview, it's all about me, to an ethnocentric worldview, it's all about me and my tribe, to a world-centric worldview. It's about all of us. We're all in this together. And Ken Wilber says it's cosmocentric next, right? So we're on our way. And that's the new paradigm that we want to bring forth. A world that works for all. Isn't that what we're trying to create? And you know what? We all have our part to play. We all have our part to play. New Thought teacher Jim Lockhart says, spiral dynamics speaks to the process of emergence, the need to midwife the newly emerging value system and hospice the old one. That's our work. Welcome to the nuclear age. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been hearing about this new age for several decades. You know, the age of Aquarius, the harmonic convergence. How many of you remember that? Yes? The Mayan calendar, right? World healing meditation. This has been around for a while. It's not new information for us. But it turns out that the seeds were sown for this next rung on the evolutionary ladder about 50 years ago. In other words, there was a whole lot more going on in those crazy 60s than we realized. There was stuff happening there. So this may not be news to us, but what is news is that we're here to usher it in, not through forcing it. We can't force our way to enlightenment, right? We can't make it happen, but we can make it what? Welcome. That's the work. Make it welcome. And so we're moving on to second tier. Now, this new worldview is about survival again, only this time on a whole systems level. It's a global level. And it's about yellow is non-linear. It's flexible. It's willing to work with paradox and the complexities of life. It's a wider, more diverse perspective. And people centered in this, yellow, can work with very complex systems, interconnected systems. You know, my two young grandsons showed an ability in their toddler years to navigate technology that still baffles me. And it blows me away. It's like they're wiring. It's all just part of who they are. Now, with yellow comes a more holistic view of reality. And we can look back and see all of these previous worldviews as necessary, developmentally nested, unfolding in an evolutionary dance, each one meriting care and respect. Now, many of us are having experiences and catching glimpses of this kind of consciousness. How many here are feeling that? You know, it's kind of peeking its way in. So our job, what we want to do is make it our center of gravity, right? Take it from having those glimpses to making it be the way that we actually express. And to do that, we have to create the inner environment that welcomes it into reality. But here's the thing. The signs are all around us that this global worldview is arising. I mean, take a look at global communication, the internet, multinational corporations. Something happens on the other side of the world and we know about it practically instantly. Video chatting with my grandkids on the other side of the continent. The systems are in place. And it's estimated that 5% of the population is now centered in yellow. We need it to be 10% to create a tipping point. We're halfway there. After yellow comes turquoise, which actually started showing up about 30 years ago. It's an integral whole view, holistic, committed to awakening, a consciousness shift, universal awareness, a deep experiential knowing of oneness. Life is joyous, expansive, playful, mystical. People with turquoise consciousness have a transpersonal awareness. They seem to radiate a quality of presence that kind of mystifies those who are not centered there already. They model peace, connectedness, centeredness, and at the same time, very capable of great passion. Some of what I think of as our modern day mystics have this consciousness. Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle, Michael Brown. Who else? Who have you heard? Who do you know that has this? Ram Dass, did you say? Michael Beck? Yeah, Michael Beckwith. Marianne Williamson. Deepak Chopra. Yeah, there's... What did you say? Jane Simmons. Thank you, that's funny. I'm not there yet, but thank you, David. Now, there's not a lot known what's beyond this as of yet, although I've heard that it's called a super integral worldview. This is Ken Wilber. Living life in conscious interconnected unity. And as more people attain that consciousness, we'll hear more about it. So, big question, how do we get there? Well, there are two components of evolutionary movement. One is about growing up, the other is about waking up. And Ken Wilber points out that these two avenues of growth have never been consciously intermingled. You know, developmental researchers focus on the growing up aspect, increased emotional, social, psychological, cognitive health and development. Whereas wisdom traditions about awakening to a deeper dimension of who we are. And neither of these groups cross the streams, so to speak. Any Ghostbuster fans? And I believe the new spirituality is about doing just that, crossing the streams, combining this, growing up and waking up. And we can look at this through the 4-quadrant model, which is a format used and taught by Ken Wilber. With the 4 quadrants, the left side refers to interior dynamics, the right side external, the upper quadrants are individual, and the lower are group work. And you can use this framework to explore any developmental dynamic. So in this case, upper left refers to the internal individual consciousness, waking up. The lower left refers to our shared cultural evolutionary development as we do this together. We're all growing up. And the upper right is where our actual holistic practices show up, concrete actions such as the Q process, meditation, mindfulness, heart coherence, breathing techniques, eating in a healthy way, exercise, taking care of the body, cleaning up. And then the lower right is action on a larger scale, spiritually motivated social action, showing up. And I have to tell you, the work we're doing in this community, which we've dubbed mission-centric ministry, is about this. It's about transformation, making a positive difference in the world. And the goal is to include all 4 quadrants in our work together. Do you see that? And the reason we want to cross the streams to combine waking up and growing up is because of this. If we have an awakening experience, we will interpret it at the level of development that we're at. Do you see that? That's the thing. And our experience will change according to where we are in our evolutionary journey. Now, if you remember, the last time we asked the question, what color is your God? From a purple tribal god that needs appeasing, to a red warrior god out smiting all those Philistines, to the blue follow the rules God, to the prosperity prove me now God, orange, to the concept of to the green all you need is love God. Our concept of the divine changes with humanity as we change. Do you see that? Isn't that cool? Very intriguing. And in upcoming talks, we're going to be delving into second-tier God. And I'm going to look at 3 aspects. Presence, being God, I am. Personhood, seeing God everywhere and in every pair of eyes. And principle, one power. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. But of course, it's not only in the mystical realm that our experience is determined by our viewpoint. We see our whole world through the filter of our worldview. Our experience of life will confirm for us what we believe over and over and over. My perception and experience of the world reflects my inner consciousness. For that reason, it is important for us to clean up our past in order to evolve. It's imperative that we do this work, because if we try to move forward with limiting beliefs, unfinished business, what happens? We find it emblazoned across the landscape of our life, don't we? We face it everywhere we go. It's like a giant mirror. And the Q process integration work is the key to freeing ourselves from the past. So we need to clean up in order to grow up and become who we've come here to be. And along with that work, we need to expand our awareness. It's not just about looking at our past, it's about looking into the depths of who we are, both individually and collectively, waking up, awakening together. I love that. And then we bring the wholeness that we are into spiritually motivated social action, making a difference in the world, showing up as the truth of who we are, divine beings sharing our light. It's why we're here. And so the goal is to move from first-tier thinking, where we identify exclusively with our current worldview, and we source our well-being outside of ourselves, to second tier, where we can appreciate the healthy aspects of each of those perspectives while seeing the unhealthy parts, and find ways to communicate with all of them, regardless of whether we agree or not. And the reason we can do that is because we no longer look outside of ourselves for our well-being or for someone to blame for our current discomfort. Do you see that? Do you see the power of that? And so this work, show up, clean up, grow up, wake up, this is the new integral spirituality that's emerging, bringing together both streams of developmental growth with awakening practices and authentic action, having the mission as the glue in order to usher in the new paradigm of living that is seeking to emerge. It's seeking to emerge. Remember, we don't make it happen, we make it welcome. Rachel Naomi Remen says this: perhaps change is less about fixing a broken world, more about uncovering the hidden wholeness in all events, all organizations, all people, and remembering our personal power to make a difference. Imagine. Can you feel that? Yes. Do you know that about yourself? You are here to make a difference. Do you know that about yourself? Yes. Say it like you mean it. Yes. Yes. So exciting. So integral spirituality, mission-centric ministry, becomes the meeting place of personal development, consciousness-expanding spiritual practice, cultural evolution, and spiritual social action, with the mission as the glue. We discover who we are, realize how we can be an important avenue for change, and the hospicing of old cultural patterns takes all of us to show up. All of us. So what are the signs of this new paradigm shift within ourselves? Well, an ability to communicate with everyone on the spiral with compassion is one. Anybody there yet? No more sourcing your well-being outside of yourself. No more sourcing your discomforts outside of yourself. That means we catch ourselves projecting. And when we want to throw something at the television, it is a sure sign that we're projecting. Sure sign. So I'm starting to catch myself right here in this art. So we use triggering moments and judgments about others to be what Byron Katie calls our compassionate alarm clocks. You see it? That's the work. And the third thing to watch for, an expanding integral concept of the divine. And as I mentioned in the next 3 talks, we are going to explore this much more deeply. And looking ahead to the fall, I will be offering a Wednesday night class that is going to specifically engage this work. Would you be interested in that? So stay tuned. Our charge is to keep the literacy of the heart alive. Welcome to the new clear age. And so it is.
I'm so excited because I've evolved today, because I woke up, I cleaned up, and I've shown up, but I have yet to grow up. Yes. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hurt or hatred, and for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity knows and honors that there are many names for God and many paths to God. For we know that there is only one presence, one power, and one life. So wherever you are and whoever you are on your journey, you are always welcome here. Today, we'd especially like to welcome those of you who are here for the first time. And if you are comfortable enough to raise your hand, our ushers have a packet for you. Anybody here for the first time? Wonderful. On the packet is a sheet that, if you are so inclined to fill it out, you will be added to our list to receive newsletters. And please feel free to put that in the offering bag as it comes around, instead of offering us a gift today. And after the service, the most important thing is you can take that and you can go over to our barista stand and get a free drink of your choice. Or you can take that back to the bookstore and get a CD of today's service or any service in the past. We are very glad that you are here. So now it's time for our welcome song, and if you are able to stand up, please do so, and feel free to give a handshake, a hug, a hip bump, a high five, a namaste.
You can repeat after us. I cannot do all the good that the world needs. But the world needs all the good that I can do. Let's sing that again. I cannot do all the good that the world needs. But the world needs all the good that I can do. One more time. Sing it out. I cannot do all the good that the world needs. But the world needs all the good that I can do.
All right, everybody, go ahead and give each other a handshake and a hug.
I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Right. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I'm following you. All the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. French, je ne peux pas faire tout le bien dont le monde a besoin. Dont le monde a besoin de tout le bien que je peux lui faire. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the... This was the last time. Following you. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
Everybody, it's time to sing with us one last time, and then we're going to sit down. I cannot do
all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. That I can do. that I can
All right, everybody take a seat so we can get moving on here today. Thank you.
Is it on? There we go. Good morning. My name is Jim Sledge. I have the privilege to be the treasurer on your board of trustees, and this is the time in our service where we acknowledge and appreciate your financial contributions to this wonderful place. I mean, where else do you find the message that we just heard? Yeah? So if you would take into your heart your contributions, and let's say our prosperity blessing together. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. And so it is.
What would I do if I knew I could not fail? If I believed would the wind always fill up my sail? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? Now, I wrote this song, and one thing that makes me really happy is when people sing along and I realize that they already knew this song before I got here. So this is the sing-along part. If you even kind of know it, sing along. Give me a thrill. Here it goes. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? You know, one thing you might not know is that there are people like me and J.D. Martin and Jan who wrote the song that we did, Immortal, and Karen Drucker who wrote I Send My Love Over the Ocean, Karen Taylor Good, and lots of others. And we've spent time writing hits that have been on the radio, and we apply those skills to writing songs that have the messages that you get at a place like this, those messages that you never want to forget. So I hope someone will have the skill to take this message and simplify it into something that we can remember. That's why we write these songs, and that's why we love it so much that you sing them. Thank you for sharing them. What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? Every child is proof. There are miracles in you and me, and there were miracles in our parents. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread, and I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. So what step could I take today if I were brave? I hope you'll take the step of singing along. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? Now we're gonna say, we are so brave. We are so brave. Two more. We are so brave. Last time. We are so brave. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Just before we continue with our rest of our service, I just want to mention that Jana tomorrow is going to be leading 2 workshops. One is what is it?
Songwriting and guitar. So first of all, you can learn to play 54 chord songs. We're going to do that first.
Right. And so in a half hour, you're going to learn how to play the guitar.
Yeah, real songs.
All right. And then there's a songwriters workshop.
Yeah, for fun and for writing your affirmations. Turn your favorite affirmation into a little song for yourself, your own chant, your own mantra.
Okay, so the workshop for learning how to play the guitar is at 6:30 to 7:30, and then 7:30 to 9 o'clock is the songwriters workshop.
Mm-hmm.
They're $20 for either one or $30 for both of them, and you can sign up in the bookstore today so that we have a sense of who's coming. Of course, you can come tomorrow as well. Bring a guitar if you have one. If not, just come. We'll try to have some extra guitars. And you have your CDs outside also.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so it's set up, and you'll
Yes,
be out
everything's
there.
available.
Okay.
And kids can come too. If they can press the chords on the guitar, or if they would like to learn songwriting, bring kids. I love children. Yeah.
Well, let's bless our love offering. We give thanks for these gifts and for those who have given them as we send them forth to bless our world. Thank you. Amen. And as we give thanks for these gifts that we are receiving here at Unity Spiritual Center, we want to take time to appreciate all of those in service to our ministry. And today we are thanking our Board of Trustees for their service. So if you are on the board, would you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you very much for your service. And our chaplain today is Marlene. Is it you? And it's Al as well. And Al has been in the back holding the entire service in prayer, in which there is always a chaplain that does that every service. If you have something on your heart today, whether that is something that is heavy or you are celebrating and you would like to have some prayer support, Al or Marlene will be up here at the front of the sanctuary after service, so please come see them. They will help pray with you, and they will hold everything in the highest confidence. If you also would like, in the front of you, in your chair in the pocket, is a prayer request form. You can fill that out, and we have 2 prayer request boxes. One's up here behind us, another one's out in the foyer. Our prayer team will pray with you. Yeah, Dana. Our prayer team will pray with you for 7 days, and then that'll be sent on over to Silent Unity, and it'll be prayed over for 30 days. Thank you, guys. Also in front of you in the pocket of the chair is a form for a special request. If you know somebody that's in a hospital and would like to have a visit, please fill that visitation request form out, and you can stick that in one of these boxes as well. And it looks like our children are here, so we are going to bless our children.
We are singing God's joys of light. We are singing God's joys of light. are singing. Whoa, we are singing for the starlight. We are singing. Whoa, we are singing for the starlight. We are singing for the starlight.
Did you guys do some art projects this morning? Sorta. What did you do here today?
We just colored a picture of the Earth.
Does somebody want to show their picture of the Earth? Wow, look at that. That's beautiful. Oh, you want to show yours too? Okay. All right. And they played games. Awesome. Can it fly? You don't want to see it fly right now? Okay. Well, we are very grateful that you guys are here today, and we are also... You were playing with squishy balls. Oh, you have a few more kids. Well, we are still singing for this joy of our life. Hi, you guys. Welcome. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we are very grateful to all these young children, for all of you that are also down there helping support the children, and for everyone involved in our youth ministry. So let's bless these guys. Oh, and YOU as well? Oh, YOU's at a week-long rally, so that means we probably have a few more people up here. So we'll bless them. Let's do our blessing for the children. Be the love you are, sing the song you hear, share your joy of life with people far and near. And let's do that for ourselves. Be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. You guys, who come with?
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll have our closing prayer, so please stand if you are able. And we'll do our peace song.
After that. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth. Hey. Oh, you rock the...
Each other in perfect
Remember, we don't make it happen, we make it welcome.